What's up, man?
Not
Got
much.
a haircut this morning?
Got a haircut, looking sharp. You look good. You play good, baby.
Yeah.
Game day.
I should have went and got one. I was thinking about it before you got here. I was like, man, my stuff a little scraggly. I'm gonna go up here and hell-bent, get my stuff right.
There you go. Join us during the game. Let's listen to the second half keys to the game, brought to you by Hellbent.
I got that radio voice.
There we go. I got a face for it.
Man, so what's up to Newcastle game, dog?
Man, what a game. Good to get one like that in during non-district. Obviously, you want to win all your games that you play, and obviously we're 3-0, and that's great. But you also want to get tested.
Yeah.
So it was a very good football team, especially offensively. Defensively, I mean, they were good too, don't get me wrong. But offensively, I mean, they had some playmakers on the outside, had two real good running backs, T.J. Bradford and I can't remember the other kid's name, number 24. Quarterback was a transfer in from Dibble. Played well, but also used another kid at quarterback, Longman, who's been there for – Caden Longman's been there for quite a while. But like I said, hard-fought game, kind of back and forth a little there up until about mid-second quarter or so. And then Bryce had the big fourth down knockdown. Keegan had the big interception there. So we were able to kind of go in at halftime about up, I think, 11. They made that field goal there at the end. The second half didn't necessarily run away with it. I mean, it was 42-24, but made some adjustments at halftime, obviously, to kind of slow down their run and pass game there. Coach Baker did a great job of making those adjustments probably about midway through the second quarter. And defense really started to step up and play really well. And then offense continued to do what they were doing. And like I said, you like getting those games, that way. Talking to Coach Wyatt during the coaches show at Burrito Mico on Tuesday, Coach Wyatt like I said, talked about it, and you want to play those type of games, those hard-fought games, because you want to learn kind of about your kids and about your team. Right. Mac, I mean, week 0 was week 0. You only had 2 weeks of practice. We did come out with the victory there, but kind of a little sloppy and some other stuff like that. Hillcrest, I mean, it was what it was. You played half of football, not, nothing against those guys, but not a very good football team. Right. So you're still kind of figuring out, hey, what are our kids going to do when they get punched in the mouth and, get up against challenge, have to deal with some adversity and things like that. And they answered the bell and played really well on both sides of the ball. So excited about that one because that showed a lot of what this team potentially is made of when we get in some close games, that they have the intestinal fortitude, I guess you could say, of fighting back and finding a way to get down and dirty with an opponent and find a way to come out with a big victory. So said everything you can ask for in that type of game, especially hard fought, physical, but then you still come out with the win and for the most part healthy. So now we roll in the district. Like I said, did exactly what we wanted to do in non-district. Got those 3 wins, and then we got obviously tonight got a big district opener there. Happy to be back at the Nest, of course. It feels like it's been forever. It's been about 30 days since we've played a home game, so it'll be good to be back in the friendly confines there of the Nest but like I said, I mean, can't say enough about the Newcastle game and the way that they fought back, both offensively and defensively and special teams. And like I said, it was a good one to watch. It was a good one to see because it might be a while before we get tested again. Unfortunately, some of the teams in our district seem to be down a little, but you got to play. I mean, all the games anyway. But it was good to see kind of how we would match up against a pretty darn good team in Newcastle, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they win that 5A district that they're in and go pretty far in the playoffs because that's a good football team. So just like I said, happy with the way that we played, happy with the way we fought, and got 17 and rolling.
Yeah, man, I thought it was a phenomenal game, man. Offense player of the game, Caden Bledsoe did a hell of a job. Yeah, I mean, that was probably his best game as an Owl so far. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but from the coach show, off the top of my head, I think he was 21 for 23. I mean, 10 for 10 in the second half, 249 yards, 242 yards, somewhere in there, 240-something yards, 2 touchdowns. And the thing that I liked about it, I mean, 21 for 23, sometimes you see that number and you think, oh, okay,
some dinks and dunks and things like that. But I mean, he was throwing, deep dig routes, deep curl routes, and things like that. And you don't see that a lot of times in high school. I mean, a lot of times in high school ball, it's either, those swing routes or those little, pitches here and there, or you're going to throw a deep post or a deep go route. But to see him kind of take that 3-step drop from the gun and put his back foot down and hit those deep digs to Brody and things like that was awesome to see.
Shout out to the O-line, too.
Yeah, O-line did a great job of protection there. And even when they didn't, I mean, like I said, Caden has that ability to kind of slide around the pocket. I mean, he slid around one time and did fumble. Yeah. And he and I talked about that a little on Wednesday. Got to always try and protect the ball. I mean, I understand what he was doing. He was trying to kind of dip under a defender and get out, but you always got to kind of keep two hands on the ball, and he'll learn that. Like I said, he's still young in playing wise and whatnot, but the fourth down throw when he had to get out of the pocket, he threw to Kaysen, and he had to get out of the pocket to the right, and for him to flip his hips and kind of put some air on that ball so Kaysen could run under it was a phenomenal throw. And then some of those, like I said, those deep dig routes to Brody were pretty special to watch and see. So, like I said, hopefully there's more to come from him. But by far his most consistent and best game is an Owl. So hopefully that's only the tip of the iceberg, and he keeps getting better from there. But yeah, offense as a whole, I mean, like I said, offensive line played really, really well. Obviously created some holes for Ritson and Braxton. Ritson had, I think, 178 yards rushing. And he's averaging 4 touchdowns a game, which isn't a bad little deal right now. Oh, he's got 12 already in 3 games. But
how many did he get last year total?
I can't remember the exact number. David would know when we can look back at some old stats. But yeah, it was in the 20s, obviously, because I mean, after Mac, I think he had 72 total for his career because he had surpassed Matt Lund's career touchdown record. So now he's up to around 80 in his career in 4 years, and still got at least 7 games and hopefully another 4 after that as well. Hopefully he's got about 11 games left in him. But yeah, he did a great job. I mean, everybody did. I mean, Brody had 10 catches for 115 yards. Tucker New had his first touchdown as a tight end. Joey did a good job on some of his balls as well, catching the rock and things like that. So overall, like I said, can't say enough about the way that the offense played and did what they needed to do there.
Yeah. Defense player of the game, Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker, like I said, a little disappointed after the first game of the year and a little bit disappointed after Hillcrest with the way that he played, if you would ask him that question, and really stepped up in that game. If Tucker will play the way he did against Newcastle, he's almost unstoppable. Like I said, big, long, and rangy at that defensive end spot. Can go and get the quarterback. Has a ton of athleticism, and really played his best game so far this year. Obviously, being named Defensive Player of the Week. But like I said, he can be a force on that outside there. And like we talked a little bit about it last week too. I mean, the good thing about the way that the D line is set up now, you've got a lot of flexibility there because you're rotating in maybe 7 or 8 of them. Compared to last year when you were rotating maybe 4, maybe 5 at the most. Now you got 7, 8, 9 at times. So, it's keeping them fresher. So it'll probably get to a point where you might even see, run stopping type guys on certain downs and pass rushing type guys on other downs and things like that. But Tucker could be a huge anchor for us. Like I said, he's got the size, he's got the ability, he's got the athletic ability. So super happy for him, especially after a little bit of a disappointing start. Like I said, nothing against that. I think if you ask him, he'll say he was disappointed in those first 2 games with the way he played.
Right.
So it was good to see him kind of get back into that mode and get things done there on the defensive side of the ball and play a really good game.
Special teams player of the game, Ian?
Yeah, Ian Corinnes, like I said, did a great job. on his kickoffs, made all these extra points, even had a tackle. Coach White and I laughed a little bit about his soccer flop after the tackle. Told him to keep that on the soccer field, not on the football field.
Yeah.
But he's been a weapon for us. Like I said, came out, wasn't with us at the beginning of fall camp, but about a week into it, came out and has done a great job. Won't be there this week. Unfortunately, won't be there tonight. Had a previous obligation that prior to him deciding to come, he kind of told the coaches, "Hey, I'd love to play with you guys and whatnot." But this week, he just couldn't be here. Right. So we'll see the other kicker this week, kind of handling business there. But excited about him. Like I said, it's a weapon with the way he can kick the ball. Haven't had an opportunity to kick a field goal yet, but at practice and things like that, I think Coach Wyatt's probably comfortable with him anywhere under maybe 35. Yeah. But I mean, he's got the leg to extend it out to maybe 40, 42, 43, somewhere up in that area. Yeah. And then, like I said, I mean, the kickoffs, he's angling them well when we ask him to do that. And then when we kick them deep, I mean, he's getting some touchbacks here and there every now and then. And that's something we haven't seen really in the Coach Wyatt era. So like I said, that helps the defense. I mean, football's a game of inches and things like that. So I mean, if you're making your opposing offense go, 80 yards every single time, or 75 to 80 yards every single possession, I mean, that makes it harder on the offense.
And it sets the defense up too. It's them getting a routine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it sets the defense up great to make them go along field. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times when we do those angle kicks and things like that the last couple of years, I mean, other team had starting field position at the 35, 40-yard line. So now you're cutting a drive from 80 yards, 85 yards to 60 yards. I mean, that's 20 less yards you got to get on the offensive side of the ball. So hopefully he continues to kind of, like I said, get more used to football. I mean, he's still running around like a chicken with his head cut off half the time because he doesn't. I mean, he's used to soccer and running around and doing all that kind of stuff. So he's an interesting, fun kid to be around.
And who was that tried to flop at the state game last year?
Was it one of the Tuttle kids or was it one of our kids?
Our kids. They threw the flag, then they pulled the flag back because one ref seen it from a different angle. Was it Kaysen?
Yes, it was Kaysen. Now that you say, Kaysen kind of, it was Kaysen. I do remember that play now that you say that.
One ref called it, and then other ref.
No. Yeah, it was after. It was maybe on a special teams play or something, or maybe on a kickoff return or something. But yeah, like I said, Ian did a great job there. Kaysen did a good job holding as well. On the extra points, some of the snaps weren't the greatest, and Casey did a good job of getting them down for Ian to kick him through there.
Well, man, sharpen your axe. The main man himself, Richard Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean he can win some sort of award probably every week. He's gonna, he is what he is. I mean, he's becoming kind of a mythical figure, I guess you could say. I mean, the high school huddle was talking about him this week, and Phil and those guys were talking about, like, I would love to have known a 7-year-old Ritson. And we're like, well, we do. His name's Jensen. But yeah, I mean, another, we just talked about it earlier, another 4 touchdowns, 178 yards, 178 yards rushing, 19 yards receiving with 2 catches. An interception and 2 forced fumbles. I mean, pretty good day at the office, and an unsportsmanlike penalty at some point as well in there. But
did you see the video?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, Ritson is what Ritson is. He's a heck of a ball player. Got his first offer this week. I assume more will start to come in.
Who did you get it from?
Got it from Southern Utah, though, where Adam Eaton is.
Okay.
First D1 offer. Southern Utah is a Division I school and got his first offer this week. So happy for him there. I would assume as the season moves on, he'll start rolling in with a couple more offers here and there. But just a great all-around football player, great all-around athlete, and like I said, he's growing into a leader. I mean, that's the one cool thing that you see about him this year. That's a little bit different than years in the past. he's always been a great football player, but was kind of didn't necessarily have to be a leader because you had the Colin Donnellys and the Trace Loras and all that kind of stuff, and prior to that Matt Lund and whatever else. But this year it's interesting and really cool to see him during games and at practice, really taking advantage of his senior year and taking advantage of being that leader and things like that. Brody as well. Like I said, during the game on Friday night, I commented, on OSN, Keegan had to step in for Corday, and John Lohman's new back there as well. I mean, Bryce has been playing for a while, and Bryce usually doesn't play the same side as Brody. But to watch Brody as a 4-year starter on the back end there, constantly talk in between plays, constantly talking to Keegan and John about where to line up and almost being that coach on the field. Is pretty cool to see because Brody's not the most vocal kid,
right,
and some of that type of stuff, but to see him becoming that leader and understanding that Hunter's not back there with him anymore. He got used to kind of Hunter being back there with him for the last 3 years, and becoming that leader and becoming that vocal guy of getting Keegan lined up in the right spot, getting John over in the right spots and things like that. And because as a 4-year starter back there, he's seen everything. Yeah. So the game is super slow for him back there, but for John and Keegan and even Corday, everything's super sped up and fast. Yeah. So it's always good to kind of be able to look over at that senior and have that knowledge and that ability and that coach on the field. Because like I said, there was times when they were on Newcastle sideline, and Keegan is out on an island on his own out there on Newcastle sideline, and Coach Hill and all those guys, the defensive guys, are way on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
So Brody was having to coach him up, and it was pretty cool to see, and pretty, like I said, that's when your seniors understand what this season means and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Anytime you have a 4-year starter back there, it's going to benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because like I said, we talked about it a lot last year with Trace. The more and more football you play, the more plays you play, the more games you play. Everything starts to slow down, and when things start to slow down, football's never an easy game. Right. But when things start to slow down, it makes it a whole lot easier. You're really at that point now. All of a sudden, you're really focusing on your true assignments and your true, understanding of the game and things like that. Those first couple games that you're playing, I don't care who you are. We talked about it a little with Ian. You run around out there with the chicken with your head cut off. You're just using your athletic ability and just hoping for the best to a certain degree. But as you kind of get, 8, 10, 15, 20 games under your belt, things start to slow down. And Brody at this point is now at, probably 45 or almost 50 games with playoffs included and stuff. So things are super slow now. Especially because when you think about it, when he first started, he only been playing football for a year or two.
Yeah.
He wasn't a kid that grew up, playing football at 6 years old all the way through.
Right.
He was one that when he got here, he had only played football maybe for a year or two.
Yeah.
Brody's another one. That I think we talked about it a little bit last week. That it's shocking he doesn't have any offers yet, but if anybody's willing to give, if they come and when they come, somebody's going to get a very good football player and a great athlete.
Amen.
And a great kid.
Yeah, good dude.
And a great family and the whole 9 yards.
Rough Rider, Cameron Hollifan.
Yeah, Cam played a great game. I think Coach White said he graded out in maybe the 90s or so in a game like that. that's pretty incredible, playing that right tackle spot. Like I said, played some last year when Shea had that little elbow injury for a couple games there. Ooh. So he did get some. Yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah.
But did get some playing time there. But has really stepped in this year at that right tackle spot and really kind of anchored that line. And another kid that was always in the right spot at the right time. Not typically offensive size, but Shea wasn't really either offensive lineman tackle type size, but uses athletic ability and his strength and things like that to really do a good job there.
Man, so we got Woodward this week, right?
Yeah, Woodward's coming in, new coach. Their coach last year, Woodward, decided to move in a different direction. He's now actually the defensive coordinator for Elk City, is my understanding, Woodward's head coach. So, yeah, I mean, my understanding, kind of looking a little bit of film on them prior to this one and talking to Coach Wyatt and the coaching staff and stuff like that, probably a little bit better than they were last year. Some of those kids were super, super young. So in their first couple games of the year so far, they've looked pretty good. But one that I think we should be able to take care of, not necessarily a walk in the park, but I think we should be able to take care of it. It'll be great to get back home. Because like I said, it seems like it's been forever, and now they all matter. I mean, so it's important for us for playoff seeding wise and whatever else, to not only get the victory but to potentially get those 15 max points that we can get there as well.
Can you refresh everybody over there again?
Yeah, so you've got so obviously the non-district schedule does not matter at all in your playoff seeding or anything like that. But so it's only related to your district wins, and then also on top of it, your scoring differential as well. So if you win by 15 or more, the max points you can get is 15. The max points you can lose is 15. So if you win by 15 or more, then you can kind of hold those points out there. And then obviously if there's some sort of tie at some point, those points potentially do come into play. So if the final score is 10-3, we won, and we won, and we got +7. So as your 7 district games go on, you can kind of do some points there. Sometimes it gets in the way. Last night, I mean, I think there was not an issue, but there was some stuff going on in the Noble-Lawton game. Noble was up pretty good, but only up maybe 12 against Lawton High with about 3 minutes left. Game was kind of decided. But Noble was trying to get those full 15 points, so they kept throwing the ball and doing some stuff and whatever else. Sometimes it gets people a little upset, but at the end of the day, I mean,
you gotta get them points.
You gotta get them points. You gotta do what you gotta do. Now it's one thing if you're up 40 and you're still trying to throw a Hail Mary and stuff like that. But if you're up 12, you're up 10, something like that, and you're trying to get those points, I mean, I think some coaches get it. But like I said, I mean, hopefully it's one that we can take care of business, maybe get some young kids in if possible. That was one thing about Newcastle, really couldn't, that was kind of a hard fart. I mean, we were only up maybe 10, 11 or so with about 5 or 6 minutes left. So kind of had to play everybody the full go, that one. So hopefully maybe we can, get a lead out there. If it's anything like it was last year, get a lead out there, maybe get Croft and Dalvin and some of those young linemen and things like that in the game to get some reps under the lights in the stadium.
Hey, man, we got our first comment, dog.
All right.
Chris Hayes, my man.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, Chris? How you doing, buddy? He said ready for some Friday Night Lights.
There we go. Hopefully, Chris is trying to get everybody to wear their Pizza Corral shirts, their yellow shirts, stuff like that. Hopefully, he gets his wish and gets. We can see some of that highlighter yellow there in the stands tonight. You'll see a lot of red, though, I assume, too.
Oh, yeah.
Little League night, so that's always a fun night to watch all the up-and-coming, potential Owls here in a few years. And I'll get to see my girls run across the field, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be, like I said, Little League night's always a fun night, and any Friday night in the Nest is a pretty cool deal, no doubt about it.
Breeze hit me up. Me and Breeze have this text chain going about the funniest memes, dude.
You better be careful with Breeze. You never know what he's going to send.
Oh, I know. I try to match him.
That's good.
It gets out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You're going down a bad rabbit hole there.
Oh, breathe easy. Oh, man, we got the Week 4 honors here. You want to talk about them?
Yeah.
Practice Player of the Week, Ronnie, is that Rojas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did a good job all week. Like I said, kind of preparing. Like I said, those practice players of the week. I mean, the cool thing that we do with that is, like I said, letting them go out there with the seniors. That's always a cool, not with the captains. So that's always a cool deal and kind of an incentive to get those kids to work hard and things like that. And like I said, I mean, I know, a lot of kids don't like doing it sometimes because you're not a starter or whatever, but I mean it's so important to give the starters a good look so that way on Friday they feel like they're prepared and ready to go. So it's a really cool thing that we allow those kids, that, like I said, that practice player of the week. And I mean, sometimes too, I mean, we've had it last year a couple times where kids not necessarily usually set to dress, right, and he gets that practice player of the week. Yep. Then he gets to get on the sidelines and stuff like that and kind of see what it's like from that vantage point. So good job for him all week of working hard and providing a good look for the offensive defensive lines.
Sixth captain, Thomas Finley.
Yeah, Tommy's just one of those kids. I mean, Coach White talks about him all the time. I mean, like I said, not necessarily a starter, but one of those seniors that, that does everything right, that, is always there on time, always willing to help teammates. Just a great kid from a great family. We talk about that all the time, but like I said, Tommy's a lot of fun to be around. And like I said, always willing to step in, even as a senior, still steps in sometimes on scout teams and things like that to make sure that everybody's getting a good look. Does a lot of special teams work for us as well. And like I said, great kid. Gave us the specials at Burrito Miko the other night on the coach's show. Works up there with Miguel and those guys as well. And he's got a bright future ahead of him. Super smart kid. And like I said, I mean, looking forward to what he becomes, the man he becomes as he gets older. Because I think he's in line to, I said maybe not necessarily on the football side of things, but in line to be a great man, a CEO or a politician or something as we move forward in getting to know him and as he gets older in life and things like that. So I'm curious to see kind of where his path takes him in adulthood.
Man, brother. Okay, here we go, dog.
Black flag bearer.
Brody Morrison.
There we go. Yeah, like I said, we kind of talked about it earlier in the podcast. I mean, just a 4-year starter on defense. Come a long way since that freshman year. Played well as a freshman, don't get me wrong, but just come a huge long way. And like I said, just love the maturity that he's showing now as a senior, being that coach on the field on the defensive side of the ball. I know Coach Baker, respects the heck out of him, and no doubt that he could run it out there. There's so many people on that defense that have played for so long now. There's so many of them that Coach Baker could have run out every week with the flag. But Brody is one of those kids, like I said, that makes whatever team he's on at the time better. And another one that that looks forward to seeing the type of man he becomes as he enters adulthood as well, because he's been a joy to cover the last 4 years. Getting to know him off the field a little. Great kid, comes from a great family again, and hopefully right now he thinks he's the best Morrison, but Bentley's on his heels.
You got some comp?
Yeah, Bentley's on his heels and ready to rock and roll. Only in 7th grade, but before too long, a lot of people around are going to be like, "There's always a Morrison on that dang team. What's going on?" But yeah, Brody's just a great kid and well deserved to be the black flag bearer.
Amen, brother.
Gotta say that one slow.
Man, that's just what scares me about going live here, man. You've heard me mess up a few times.
There's no more editing.
Well, I have to really think about it. Say a prayer. No, but the Morrisons a good family, like you said, man. They go to the same church we do, and we do church set up once a month, and their family's there helping up. The Beans are there. I don't know, man. It's a good family, man, all around.
I think I said this last year on the podcast, and I mean, I've been doing this 8 years now. This is my 5th total year out in Elgin. and then 3 at Cache. Did 1 at Elgin, 3 at Cache, and then this is the 4th one back at Elgin. And Brody Morrison, is the only one that's ever and he's done it every year that I've covered him. Writes a thank you note at the end of the year. Thank you for covering us, and yada yada yada. So that just kind of shows the type of family. I mean, obviously, 15, 16-year-old kid maybe came up with it on his own. I don't know, but I mean that just shows that he's being raised right or has been raised right, and it's important to him and things like that. And like I said, Brody's a cool. Good kid, and like I said, I mean, if there's college coaches or anybody out there that knows some college coaches that are listening, I mean, come get this kid, because unfortunately, right now, like I said, kind of like Colin Donnelly last year, I don't know if it's a size deal or what, but I mean. I understand this summer he ran a 4.4, so I mean speed's not an issue. Playability. That's what somebody said this summer.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean
that's not bad at all.
No, that's moving.
That's definitely an improvement. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And
he's kind of young for his grade.
Yeah,
too.
he is.
He could have been held back a year. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Him and Jace both, they could still be playing high school football.
Right.
That's crazy.
So I mean it. So, like I said, I mean, yeah, he's one that if he gets that offer and joins either football or baseball, he's going to make whatever team he's on better. And like I said, been a fun kid to cover over the last couple of years, and I know I'm not the only one that will be sad when his time as an Elgin Owl is up.
Hey man, Chris Hayes said, I thought Caden had the best game he's had last week, but the offensive line was the MVPs. They gave him 5 to 7 seconds on every pass attempt.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Obviously, Caden was named the Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
When you can complete 21 of 23 passes, I mean, completing 21 of 23 passes against air is pretty difficult. And to do it in a game, and like I said, it wasn't just 2-yard out routes or flare routes or anything like that. I mean, we were pushing the ball down the field. I mean, he was having to move a little bit in the pocket and things like that. Caden's got a special arm. It comes out pretty, and he's got a quick release, and like I said, some of that comes from baseball as well. He can throw from some different angles, like coaches like now.
Yeah.
Caden's one that if he can play like he did against Newcastle throughout the rest of the year, going into his senior year, he's going to have the ability to play at the next level. Said probably needs to put on a little bit of weight. But they can do that in college for him, especially with the way that the spread offenses and stuff like that are now. College coaches aren't necessarily looking for the 6'4", 6'5" guy like they used to be. But Caden has the ability and definitely has the arm to be a very special player. But playing quarterback all kind of starts, neck up. And he has that ability too. I mean, he's a smart football player, kind of talking to him about coverages and things like that when I do go to practice. He knows what's going on. He spends a lot of time during the summer going to some quarterback camps, and even during the season. Even during the season too. So I mean, he's learned a lot through all those guys as well. And it's like I said, I'm happy now that he has his chance, and he's, like I said, we talked about it during the offseason. What's he going to do with his chance? And so far in the first 3 games, he's really running with it and doing a great job. But to also echo what Chris is saying, I mean, yeah, the offensive line has done a great job all year. I mean, I know coming in, we were a little nervous. You lose 3 kids to college ball. And then and I mean, a lot of people don't understand too, the 2 that we had back are actually playing different positions now.
Yeah.
So you had a different starter at every single position.
Yeah.
Even though Hud and Jackson played last year, they're now at different spots. Hud's moved over to that left tackle spot, and Jackson's moved from center to that right guard spot. But like I said, those guys that have stepped in, Cam, Brody Ballou, and CJ Devine have done a great job, and really haven't seen much of a drop off from last year's 3 D1 guys. Well, 2 D1 guys and a guy that probably was the most talented of the 3 at a real big D2 school. UCO's still in the top 10 in D2 right now. So, like I said, those guys have played well all year. And Ritson doesn't score 12 touchdowns, without those guys creating those holes and things like that. And Caden, like I said, Caden has some time back there to throw the ball and all that kind of stuff. So, kudos to that offensive line. And the only way for us to win the whole thing and to get where we want to get to Week 14 is for those guys to continue to play the way that they've been playing. Because – like I said, one of the first things that Coach Wyatt and I always talk about when we talk keys to the game, it's always some kind of way gets brought up of, controlling the line of scrimmage or something. Winning games, those guys don't get a lot of publicity and don't get a lot of, hype and all that kind of stuff. They're more, that's kind of where the Rough Riders come from. But those guys, if those guys play bad, then the whole team's going to play bad. But like I said, Hud's a great leader up there. I'm only a junior, but been named the captain. Hud's kind of like a Brody, been starting since he's a freshman.
Yeah.
Only a junior's played in, almost 30 games now. So like I said, he does a great job, and Hud's a little bit more vocal. So Hud will get on some of those kids every now and then, things like that. So it's good to see the way that those guys are have meshed, because at the end of the day, they kind of have to all move on a string and be one, even though there's 5 of them, but be one. And they, for only being only playing 3 games together, they're getting there.
Yeah. Hud's taller than he looks too, because he's not stretched out tall. You know what I mean?
No,
he's built.
Yeah, he's built. Yeah, he's not your prototypical. He's not Ant. Ant.
Yeah.
At left tackle, Ant was what
6'5",
6'5" or whatever. Playing in the SEC now, things like that. He's not that tall, but he's a technician. Super strong. Super smart as well when it comes to football and things along those lines. Another one that comes from a great family as well. And just like I said, just that anchor. Like I said, came in as a freshman, didn't know if he was going to be the starter or not. A guy in front of him kind of goes down. CJ kind of goes down with a little bit of an injury and just has to roll in there. Week 1, didn't really even know he was going to be, the starter, and hasn't looked back. Took that job as a freshman I think he was playing right guard at the time. And really ran with it, and now has kind of become that next in the line of Keith Ferguson, Jace, kind of Hudson type deal, kind of the next offensive lineman leader. And then now, like I said, now this year he's gotten a little bit more play on the defensive side of the ball as well. So that's kind of a cool thing to watch him kind of progress and start to play some defense as well. But like I said, he's got a big year ahead of him, big couple years ahead of him, and looking forward to seeing kind of what he can do in the next couple years.
Man, I think the future, Elgin football in general, the future looks bright, but we got some big boys coming up.
Yeah.
Freshman class, there's some big boys in that group.
Freshman class has got some big kids. Caden's brother, Trip Dotson, is playing some on the offensive line already now as a freshman.
Yeah.
Moved him to center. The 7th and 8th grade teams are rocking and rolling. Both of those teams are very good. The junior class that's there right now, like I said, I know a lot of people talk about the Ritsons and Brodies and things like that are seniors, but you got to think about it. We got just Tucker New, Caden Boletto, Kaysenmeyer. You still got a bunch of juniors that are coming behind as well, Tiny. So there's not going to be, and that was part of Coach Wyatt's plan coming in. We want to build a program to where you lose a Matt Lund, but you got a Ritson coming up. You lose Ritson, now you got a Tiny coming up. You got some Tyler Waldens and some of those guys coming up from the younger Bentley Morrison, some of those guys, Rico, all those guys coming up as young kids. And like I said, we've got some size as well, like you talked about with those freshmen, 7th and 8th and 9th graders. So I said that, but that's part of building a program and hopefully keeping us kind of in that conversation of top 5 teams in 4A, or whether we move back to 5A or whatever. We want to try and always kind of be in those conversations of, play. You're going to make the playoffs. So now, the goal is always obviously a state title. But yeah, you want to kind of get to that point to where, we know we're going to be in the playoffs. And we're kind of we've been in the playoffs now 3 years in a row, hopefully for a fourth year. So like I said, we're building it the right way too. From ground up, and a lot of it stems, from what Cody does with the little league groups and all those little league coaches, and it helps that the high school coaches, Coach Castro and Coach Wyatt, Coach Baker, all those guys, also invest time in the. You go to a 7th and 8th grade game, and Coach Wyatt's out there coaching. Coach Baker's out there coaching. Castro's on the sideline as well. Things like that. They're not just hey, I'm a varsity guy. I'm not fooling with those kids. They know that those kids are kind of the future. So they're going out there not only coaching the kids but also coaching the coaches to be able to do that. So that way, when they get into that high school huddle for the first time as 9th graders or 10th graders, they're using the same verbiage. They're using the same steps. They're running the same plays. All that goes a long way in building a successful program, and we're on our way to being that. If we haven't already got there.
Before we get off here, man, how did you not say any cuss words while broadcasting the game the other night?
Billy turned my mic down a couple different times to make sure that I wasn't on air. Billy's a preacher, so we had a couple during some timeout breaks. We had a couple, God felt moments together. But yeah, it was,
that was a fumble, right?
Yeah. I think
a good 3 steps.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way: the ball was tossed on the far hash. He fumbled it on the near hash, and we recovered it on their sideline. Yeah. So, there's no way to get – unless he was hot potatoed the whole way. And, he caught it and tucked it. But, it is what it is. It was close to their sideline. As soon as it happened, we saw their entire coaching staff start and their entire sideline start saying incomplete pass. Yeah. So you had a lot of people in his ear saying incomplete pass and things like that.
Was that Jackson Deal that come with the ball?
I think it was Bryce came up with the ball.
Didn't Jackson come up with the ball too?
Jackson came up with a ball on Caden's fumble.
Okay.
Jackson came out of the pile with the ball after Caden's fumble, but for some reason Newcastle got the ball.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Ritson had a strip early in the game as well that they said that was down. It is what it is. And it wasn't just one way. I know as Elgin fans and Elgin, people. We only think of the Elgin side of it, but on the 4th down, after the fumble, they didn't respot the ball correctly, so it should have been 4th and 3, but then for some reason it was 4th and 8. There was some. They called a touchdown. They called a touchdown back on Newcastle about a guy downfield, and potentially it was an eligible receiver that was downfield. I think it was their tight end and not one of their offensive linemen. There were some things there that I know Elgin, Facebook was blowing up about how we beat Newcastle and the rest, things like that. But they. It is what it is. Sometimes,
human error, man.
That's what refereeing is. Kudos to those guys. They don't get paid that much to do all that. They spend Friday nights doing that. And like I said, we try and be as objective as possible and not try and get on them. But yeah, there were some times when I wanted to. Man, my biggest thing was we were on top of the press box. My biggest thing was going after a couple Newcastle fans didn't like us up there, or didn't like Castro and Jack in the box right behind them either. But it is what it is. Yeah. 8 years so far, haven't thrown out any choice words yet, and hopefully it continues that way.
Man, refereeing is a tough job, man. When I first got back to Oklahoma, I thought about refereeing because I was going to these tournaments every weekend with Dax, and so I thought about reffing like wrestling tournaments and stuff. That's how these parents talk to these refs. And I'm like, nah, man, I got to protect mine.
Right, I'd fight them. And like I said, it's a tough job. There's 22 kids on a field, and you're responsible for a certain certain area, and depending on where you're lined up, if you're the line judge, if you're the back judge, if you're the referee in the middle and things like that. But there's a lot of action going on, and it's hard to see everything that goes on out there. So like I said, kudos to those guys for doing it and willing to do it. That's the one thing, we all think we could ref and whatever else, and it's like, put yourself out there. And let's see how well you do it. It's easy. Yeah. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback and Monday morning, referee and all that kind of stuff. But put yourself in that situation, and there's always going to be calls missed. There's always going to be calls. The unfortunate thing about high school football is there's no, review to kind of fix it. Yeah. So it is what it is. But like I said, as far as that Newcastle game, whether or not it was good, bad, or otherwise, it kind of was happening on the same, both for the same for both teams. Because like I said, there was a couple questionable calls for them as well. So we can't just say, they were, they were cheating, they were for Newcastle or anything like that. They made some, not sure if they were bad or not, but questionable calls against Newcastle just as much as us.
Final words, my man?
Final words. It's Friday night in Elgin, so we haven't been back at the Nest. We haven't been there in about 30 days, 28, something like that. So glad to finally get back there. Super excited about district play because now it really matters. Obviously, you only get 10 opportunities, but those first 3, I had a coach one time say that, it was – fall camp, then it was kind of preseason, then it was regular season, then as district play, and then postseason as playoffs. So now it really matters. And like I said, decent Bomber team coming in here. It's always a fun one for our family because my mother-in-law is teaches in the Woodward school system, and my father-in-law is a State Farm agent just like I am, but up there in Woodward. So it's always a fun one for our family. A little bit of bragging rights on the line there. I know I've got a text message already from Booty. He's excited about tonight as well. I don't know if I can say it on air.
Hey, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. I think it's motherfucking game day. So yeah, everybody's excited about it. It's always fun. Like I said, you only get 10 of them. You only guaranteed 10 of them. And like I said, hopefully we can get 4 more. But you only guaranteed 10 of them. And here's stop 4 on potentially the 14-week train ride. And like I said, looking forward to a big win. Always fun. Like I said, always fun to watch the Little League kids get to run out on the field and do their thing during Little League night. And like I said, just excited to get back at home and get district play underway, and curious to see how we come out and play. Tough one, like I said, last week. This week, hopefully, we don't take this team too lightly. Obviously, we had a pretty good game against them last year and shut them out and scored a lot of points and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a new team this year for us. It's a new team this year for them. So we've got to come out and execute. Hopefully handle business pretty easily and then get ready for the next week, because next week we've got a short week. Next week we play Elk City on Thursday, so want to get this one kind of out of the way. Hopefully we come out healthy, and then you got a short week to kind of get prepared for Elk City. So just looking forward to it, and hopefully everybody can tune in. Hopefully everybody's there, because there's nothing like the Nest on a Friday night. But if you're unable to attend, we'll go live at 6:30 on OSN for the pregame show, and then have all the action for you live at 7. All of our games, like I said, at the end of the game, you got to wait about an hour. And then it'll upload to the Elgin channel, and you can go back and watch it. I know a lot of people watch it that night and throughout the weekend. We're leading the territory. We're leading the OSN schools in views and clicks and all that kind of stuff. So continue to watch us and comment and do all that kind of stuff for us, because we want to make sure that there's 13 schools now. We want to make sure we still stay at that most watched channel and all that kind of fun stuff as well. So looking forward to it. Hopefully come out with a big victory. And as always, go Owls.
Amen, brother. If you're listening, Podbean, please go to YouTube, like, and subscribe. and just name me Craig.
There we go.